Good day everyone, Dr. Polaris here. The sloth bear of the genus Melursus ursinus is an unusually specialised termite-eating bear native to the Indian subcontinent. Perhaps best known as the lovable Baloo from Kipling's The Jungle Book and the Disney film of the same name, these bears are unique components of South Asia's faunal communities. Sloth bear adults are typically a medium-sized species and can weigh in a range from 55 to 105 kilograms in typically sized females, and from 80 to 145 kilograms in typically sized males. Exceptionally large specimens of females can scale up to 124 kilograms, and males at up to 192 kilograms. They are 60 to 92 centimeters high at the shoulder and have a body length of 1.4 to 1.9 meters. Sloth bear muzzles are thick and long, with small jaws and bulbous snouts with wide nostrils. They have long lower lips which can be stretched over the outer edges of their noses, and lack upper incisors, thus allowing them to suck up large numbers of insects. The premolars and molars are smaller than in other bears, as they do not chew as much vegetation. In adults, the teeth are usually in poor condition, due to the amount of soil they suck up and chew when feeding on insects. The paws are disproportionately large and have highly developed sickle-shaped, blunt claws, which measure 10 centimeters in length. They have the longest tail in the bear family, which can grow to 15 to 18 centimeters long. Their back legs are not very strong, though they are knee-jointed and allow them to assume almost any type of position. The ears, in addition, are very large and floppy. Sloth bear fur is completely black, although rusty for some specimens, save for a whitish V or W shaped mark on their chest. This feature, which is also present in Asian black bears and sun bears, is thought to serve as a threat display, as all three species live alongside tigers. The coat is long, shaggy and unkempt, despite the relatively warm environment in which this species is found, and is particularly heavy behind the neck and between the shoulders, forming a long mane. Sloth bears are usually about the same size as an Asian black bear, but are immediately distinctive for their shaggier coat, whitish claws, and their typically lankier build. Their head and mouth is highly distinct from that of a black bear, with a longer, narrower skull shape, loose-looking, flappier lips, and pale muzzle colour. Sloth bears live in a variety of dry and moist forests and in some tall grasslands, where boulders, scattered shrubs and trees provide shelter. Their range includes India, Sri Lanka and southern Nepal. Historically, sloth bears have also been reported in Bangladesh and Bhutan, but it is unclear whether sloth bears are still present in the wild in these countries. Adult sloth bears may travel in pairs, with males often observed to be gentle with cubs. They walk in a slow, shambling motion, with their feet being set down in a noisy, flapping style. They are capable of galloping faster than a human can run. Although they appear slow and clumsy, both young and adult sloth bears are excellent climbers. They will occasionally climb to feed and to rest, though not to escape enemies, as they prefer to stand their ground against them. Sloth bear mothers carry their cubs up trees as a primary defence against predators. All ages are good swimmers, and they primarily enter water to play with each other. To mark their territories, sloth bears scrape trees with their forepaws and rub against them with their flanks. Sloth bears, in addition, have a great vocal range. Gary Brown, in his Great Bear Almanac, lists over 25 different sounds in 16 different contexts. Sounds such as barks, screams, grunts, roars, snarls, woofs and yelps are made when angered, threatening or when fighting. When hurt or afraid, they shriek, yowl or whimper. When feeding, sloth bears make loud huffing and sucking noises, which can be heard over 100 meters away. Females also emit crooning sounds when they're with their cubs. The species is the most vociferous when mating, and make loud, melodious calls when doing so. Sloth bears do not hibernate. Instead, they make their day beds out of broken branches in the trees, and rest in caves during the wet season. Sloth bears are also the most nocturnal of all bears, though the females become more active in the daytime when with their cubs. Sloth bears are excellent hunters of termites and ants, which they locate by smell. On arriving at a mound, they scrape at the structure with their claws till they reach the large combs at the bottom of the galleries, and disperse the soil with violent puffs. The termites are then sucked up through the muzzle, producing a sucking sound which can be heard very far away. Their sense of smell is strong enough to detect grubs 3 feet below the ground. Sloth bears may also supplement their diet with fruit, plant matter, carrion, and very rarely other mammals. In March and April, they eat fallen petals of moa trees and are partial to mangoes, sugarcane, jackfruit, and the pods of the suggestively named golden shower tree. When with their cubs, females are reported to regurgitate a mixture of half-digested jackfruit, wood apples, and pieces of honeycomb. This sticky substance hardens into a dark yellow, circular, bread-like mass, which is then fed to the cubs. This bear's bread is considered a delicacy by some of India's natives. The large canine teeth of sloth bears, relative to both its overall body size and to the size of the canine teeth of other bears, and the aggressive disposition of sloth bears, may be a defence in interactions with large, dangerous animals with which they share their environment, such as tigers, elephants, and rhinos. Bengal tigers occasionally prey on sloth bears. Tigers usually give the bears a wide berth, though some specimens may become habitual bear killers. Tigers typically hunt sloth bears by waiting for them near termite mounds, then creeping behind them and seizing them by the backs of their necks and forcing them to the ground with their weight. One tiger was reported to simply break its victim's back with its paw, then waited for the paralysed bear to exhaust itself trying to escape before going in for the kill. When confronted by tigers face to face, sloth bears charge at them, roaring loudly. A young or already sated tiger usually retreats from an assertive sloth bear, as the bear's claws can inflict serious wounds, and most tigers end the hunt if the bears become aware of the tiger's presence before the pounce. Sloth bears may also scavenge on tigers' kills, leading to further confrontations. As tigers are known to mimic the calls of sambar deer to attract them, sloth bears react fearfully even to the sounds made by the deer themselves. In 2011, a female bear with cubs was observed to stand her ground and prevail in a confrontation against 2 tigers in rapid succession. Sloth bears are one of the most aggressive of all living bears due to large human populations often closely surrounding the reserves that hold them. Aggressive encounters and attacks are unfortunately relatively frequent. Going on raw numbers, this is the species of bear that most regularly attacks humans. Only the Himalayan black bear subspecies of the Asian black bear is nearly as dangerous. Sloth bears likely view humans as potential predators, as their reactions to them, roaring followed by retreat or charging, are similar to those evoked in the presence of tigers and leopards. Their long claws, ideally adapted for digging at termite mounds, make adults less capable of climbing trees to escape danger. Therefore, the sloth bears have seemingly evolved to deal with threats by behaving aggressively. For the same reason, brown bears can be similarly inclined, accounting for the relatively high incidence of seemingly non-predatory aggression towards humans in these 2 bear species. According to Robert Armitage Sterndale in his Mammals of India, the sloth bear is also more inclined to attack man unprovoked than almost any other animal, and casualties inflicted by it are unfortunately very common, the victim being often terribly disfigured, even if not killed, as the bear strikes at the head and face. In Madhya Pradesh, sloth bear attacks accounted for the deaths of 48 people and the injuring of 686 others between 1989 and 1994, probably due in part to the density of population and competition for food sources. A total of 137 attacks, resulting in 11 deaths, occurred between April 1998 and December 2000 in the North Bilaspur Forest Division in Chittagong. The majority of attacks were perpetrated by single bears and occurred in kitchen gardens, crop fields, and in adjoining fields during the monsoon season. Sloth bears may have reached their current form in the early Pleistocene, the time when the bear family specialised and diversified. A fragment of fossilised humerus from the Pleistocene, found in Andhra Pradesh's Kurnool Basin, is identical to the humerus of a modern sloth bear. The fossilised skulls of a bear once named Melursus theobaldi, found in the Sivalix from the early Pleistocene or early Pliocene, are thought by certain authors to represent an intermediate stage between sloth bears and ancestral brown bears. M. theobaldi itself had teeth intermediate in size between sloth bears and other bear species, though its palate was the same size as the former, leading to the theory that it is the sloth bear's direct ancestor. Sloth bears as we currently know them probably arose during the Middle Pliocene and almost certainly evolved in the Indian subcontinent, where they still remain today. Despite having a wide range in the wild, the bear is listed as vulnerable on the IUCN Red List, mainly because of habitat loss and degradation. Conflict with people is also increasing as India's population continues to grow rapidly. Let us hope that the real-life Baloo can weather these changes and can keep looking for the bare necessities of life long into the future. Thank you for watching, everyone. I will end this video by saying a big thank you to my over 300 subscribers, a number I still can't believe I've reached in this amount of time. Your support really means a lot to me, and I will see you all again next week, when I'll be covering more cryptozoology related content. Again, thank you for listening, and I'll see you again soon. Cheerio!